ọjọ́ bá pẹ́ títí ọjọ́ àpín o bọ́nà bá jìnnà jìnnà àdópin o àti sáré àdópin aré àmàtìjìyà àdópin ìyà o àti sunsun àti kan ògiri ó má dìgbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
ilé òní gbóná kárẹ́nu omi kọ́lé ayé òní kóró kálọ̀ dífá ọ̀run o láyé náà la ó wà títà ó fi ṣẹ́gun lójú àwọn ọlọ́tẹ̀ ẹkún akọjá òkùnkùn ajímọ́lẹ̀ fáwa ọmọ Yorùbá ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Ó di láéláé pọ́npá ó mà di láéláé pọ́npá Yorùbá ò ní dọ̀bálẹ̀ ẹ̀fẹ́ nìkan ó di gbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o.
yé ẹ dìde dìde bí ológun ẹ bá jàgà sílẹ̀ o ẹ rántí àtọmọdọ́mọ kò ní sún wa kò ní rẹ̀ wá bá ó fi ṣẹ́gun tẹni tó dé ó sàn ju ẹni tirẹ̀ ń bọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ò ní dídúró kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n 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 àtùpàgbé oníkànnì o bí ẹ bá sùn ẹ gbé ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Bí a bá kú tí a bá jí a ó mẹ́ni rè fẹ́ràn ẹni bá ṣàìsàn wò ni yóò lè mọyì àlàáfíà bí a bá ṣaláìní ká tó wá ní a ó mọyì ìgbà bá ń fojoojúmọ́ jẹun ata ó dífá fún Yorùbá tí í ṣe ọmọ Odùduwà bàbá mi òkè gàgàgà tí í ṣe lépè lẹ́yìn aṣòótọ́ Ọ̀yọ́ Ìbàdàn Oǹdó Ìjẹ̀ṣà Ilé Ifẹ̀ o.
wá ohùn alóore Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Àkúrẹ́ Ọ̀wọ̀ Ìkàrẹ́ Ẹ̀yìn Èkìtì ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
wá ohùn alóore Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ìbàràpá Ilé Ẹ̀gbádò Ẹ̀yìn Ọ̀ṣun ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
wá ohùn alóore Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ẹ̀yin Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ Àlárẹ̀ o ẹ̀yin Ẹ̀gbá ọmọ Lísàbí.
wá ohùn alóore Odùduwà ló ń pè o ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
ẹ wá kan fìdílé tàbí kẹ́ fìdílé nǹkan kí ẹjá jọjẹ gbádùn ètò tòní ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ. ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ dé kò sì tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ dé ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ dé the sense that àṣírí ń tú.
Doesn't happen anymore. We've been able to undo damage of 60 years where there was the hate against the Yoruba race was official. So we saw for the first time, we saw people like, we saw Governor Sanwo-Olu saying that Lagos State is the United States of the Yoruba people. 6 years ago, he won't say that. He won't say that. You'll be hearing this, you'll be hearing blasphemous phrases like melting pot. But nobody says that anymore because the most critical part, we now understand, we are now alive to our responsibilities. We've seen the different threats from the core north. Oh, we'll take back power in 2027. We are standing up and telling them, power, you are not bigger than us within the Nigerian project. You are not. So they taught many of the youths, but they are bearing Yoruba names. Their names is Adeyemi. Their names is Alabi. Their names, so they are confused. And they are telling them, so anytime Yoruba nationalism is being mentioned, they are quickly bullied. Oh, shut up. Stop talking about, oh, this guy is like Nnamdi Kanu. Oh, stop thinking like IPOP. They demonize ethnic consciousness. But look at the people that are demonizing ethnic consciousness. Talk about any issue about Arewa supremacy and hegemony. They come out and start threatening with violence. That is how genociders, empire builders, that is how they think. That is how they think. They believe you don't have a right, they have a right over, they have a say. It is this audacity that they can determine life and death and how you should live and exist, because it is a supremacist thinking. They are not patriots, they are supremacists. They are people that want to undo what God has created, what nature has created. And there are examples. The good example is in Turkey. That's why you see them going to Turkey. Turkey, the mother state of Turkey is a product of genocide. The mother state of Turkey is a product of genocide. It turned an empire into a nation state. It homogenized it. How did they homogenize it? Through the use of bloodshed. That was why we asked Magalu, you are saying that we should, Ataturk Kemal was a good case study. Now you are saying an example that Nigeria should follow. Do you intend to wipe us out? Magalu till today has not answered us. He ran away because he didn't expect there are intellectuals amongst the Yoruba race, people like us in the South and other people too in the Middle Belt that can see through what is propagating against the rest of us. This is an intellectual war. The first war, most of the wars are not fought on the battlefield. Most of the wars are fought intellectually, which is why you cannot destroy your intellectuals. The Yoruba intellectuals must find a way to organize themselves into a disciplined block, not being emotional, not being undisciplined. That's why you see the radicals, the religious extremists in our midst, they are always afraid of the Yoruba, of the intellectual Yoruba nationalists. They can't stand Yoruba nationalism because they know that is going to undo their wickedness and their grandiosity. You look at what they did in the Connaught. They destroyed any form of Hausa nationalism and replaced it with Islamic nationalism. The energy that the Hausa people are using for Islamic nationalism should have been used for Hausa nationalism. Because in Islamic nationalism, the Hausa people are third class. In Hausa's nationalism, it has been destroyed. Because Hausa nationalism, you need intellectualism, you need money, you need connection, you need organization to be able to do all these things. But it cannot be done. Because within that space called Arewa land, there is another ethnicity that conquered that place under the banner of pan-Islamism, a minority that conquered it, destroyed the original traditional structure and created a new power structure that has been sustained by blood, by violence, by coercion, by deceit, by feudalism, and by pan-Islamism. So I have no problem. We have no problem. Till King Yoruba Force Organization has no business to talking about what happens to the Hausa people. We have no problem with what is happening in the Northwest. I have no business with that. Our business is this. One, the Yorubas of Kogi are Yorubas. They are not Northerners. They must be brought back to the Southwest. Two, the Yorubas of Kwara are not Northerners. They are Yorubas. They must be brought back to the Southwest. That's our own issue. And three, the Fulanis cannot be coming from Sokoto and Katsina and be killing our farmers, cannot be killing our mothers on their farms, and you're going to tell us not to talk because of pan-Nigerianism. We are going to talk. It's never going to be acceptable. We are going to revolt. We are going to organize. Because possible. The Yoruba people are not creating militias to be killing Hausa Obas, Hausa kings, Hausa Serikis. Let us reverse the case and think maybe we are going to have a Nigeria within a week. Close your eyes and imagine. Yoruba people are creating OPC. We are creating different Yoruba groups. And say because Yoruba people are good in drummers, our business is Amanlu, our Yoruba Tonu Lukiri. Our Losin not. We are now kidnapping and raping their wives and children. And you are saying that when people are now saying we are calling out Fulani ethnic bandits as terrorist people, you are saying, oh, don't generalize against us, but you refuse to call out, you are hiding under religion in order to protect your killer brothers and sisters. And you are even saying, oh, we know they are killing you. For you, it is a clash. How can it be a clash? Our fathers have been farming on this land for thousands of years. You are the one coming from Mali, from Senegal to come and kill us. The next thing is you are even planning to use genocide as a form of nation building. No, this is not a nation, it's a country of nations. When you say Nigeria is a country of nations, you destroy all their genocidal plans. They do not have any. That's why, look, I'm not here to speak for the Igbo nation. I'm sorry, I'm not here to speak for them. But the greatest disservice the Igbo nation has ever done to themselves is to pursue the dream of Nnamdi Azikiwe in the 21st century. When the South is awash with cash and armed to the teeth to defend that space. And they understand you have an agenda to get access to the Atlantic Ocean. You cannot use the Azikwe's method and think you are going to get away. You cannot get away with it. It can only work for a period of time. You are surely going to be the biggest losers. Now, the issue of Russia. And the issue of Russia, I'm going to talk about that within 2-3 minutes. And I'm going to, we're going to have a question and answer. A good example of the Russian issue was Eastern Ukraine. The Holodomor. The Holodomor was a farming policy, the weaponization of starvation against the peasant population of Eastern Ukraine. So the majority of the people of Donetsk and Luhansk, that area of Donbass region, were majorly Ukrainians in the early 19th century. After the Bolshevik Revolution, and Stalin was able, through hook and crook, was able to replace Lenin, because it was Trotsky that was supposed to take over from Stalin. Was Trotsky that was supposed to take over from Lenin, not Stalin. Stalin was a genocidal maniac. He was not intelligent. He was not an ideologue. But he was brutal. He knows how to use guns and ammunition for his. He was an idealist. So what happened? Starvation was used to crush Ukrainian resistance in Eastern Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians died. Many of them were displaced, and they had to move. They had to move to the western part of Ukraine. Now, Ukraine was part of Russia, of the Russian Empire, because USSR was a continuation of the Russian Empire. And what happened? They now relocated a lot. They relocated a lot of ethnic Russians from other parts of Russia into that area of Ukraine. That is where you see this problem happening today. The problem of Ukraine, where there are a lot of people within Ukraine as a country, in places that people know they are Ukrainian lands, and you're asking a question, is this actually Ukraine or Russia, was because of some of the genocidal policies of Stalin, where a lot of Ukrainian people were massacred and annihilated. So a good example was Holodomor. 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 The Holodomor was a starvation policy by Stalin, which led to the massacre of millions of ethnic Ukrainians. And when the people were removed, ethnic Russians came into that place. So that was why you saw that, and that place, unfortunately, it is one of the places, the mineral resource rich region of Russia, for Ukraine. That Eastern Ukraine is where they have most of their industries, their power plants, great rivers are flowing through that place for agriculture. Many of the things that Ukraine needs to build a modern nation state within Europe is found in Eastern Ukraine. But because of the policy, the genocidal policy that happened many years, happened during the time of Stalin. They lost that place. They lost that place. And that is why it was difficult, even though Ukraine was not trying to undo through bloody wars of trying to reclaim that place. It was too late for them to do it. And one of the policies the USSR also did was Russification and the destruction of indigenous languages. So in Russia, in USSR, everybody was speaking Russian. Everybody was Russified. Latin dialect, Latin and any form of Persian dialect, Turkic writing system was now replaced with the Cyrillic writing system. What is the Cyrillic writing system? The Cyrillic writing system was the writing system of the that is mostly used by Russia. So it is part of the Russification agenda. That's why I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry I'm speaking this way. If something happens in Nigeria now, and Nigeria balkanizes, places like Plateau, Taraba, Nasarawa are going to have identity crisis. Because many of them are speaking Hausas, even though they are not Hausas. Because that's one of the issues you have that happened in the USSR. That's why you see places like Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, even Finland. So one of the things they did in those places was de-Russification. They also have the same case in Georgia. Those were former USSR states. Same thing in Azerbaijan, where they were now de-Russification. They are making laws to make their indigenous language the national language, not Russian language anymore. That's why you see that a lot of countries in the Balkans, a lot of countries, especially in Eastern Europe and the Caucasus, they are afraid of Russia because they understand what Russia did to them. The policies of Russia, scorched earth tactics, which is the extermination of the indigenous people. Now, how did Russia now? Let's talk about the modern state of Russia, which is now 70% ethnic Russians. There used to be a powerful Muslim nation, which was called Circassians. Circassia was a Muslim state, a Muslim country, that existed in that area of the Caucasus, close to the Black Sea, close to modern-day Ottoman Empire and modern-day Turkey. It existed for hundreds of years, for centuries. Wonderful warriors. But because Circassia was standing geopolitically as an obstacle for the Russian Empire, for their expansion into Central Asia and having direct access, total access in that corridor in the Black Sea, the Russians had to exterminate the Circassians. They fought the Circassian for 105 years, close to over 100 years. Circassia was taken over. Their language exterminated. Their land taken over. So you see there are so many minorities in Russia today, but you cannot see them. There are Mongolians in Russia. There are Turkish ethnicities in Russia. There are Cossacks in Russia. There are Persians ethnicity in Russia. There are many ethnicities in Russia, but because of use of policies, you have to subjugate the ethnic identities of other ethnicities and propagate a major ethnicity as the major force. So you have to understand what is going on. It is genocide as a tool of nation building. That is why the killings in the Middle Belt, it is not a mistake. Anybody that tells you the killings in the Middle Belt is just a national or political issue, no, it is a systematic annihilation of the people of the Middle Belt. When we are talking and siding the people of the Middle Belt, we are empowering them so that they can continue to fight, because we don't want to have borders with these genocidal maniacs coming from the Sahel. It is the bitter truth. Go to Okiode, Babala, go to Kwara State, in Kwara South, go and talk about what is happening. Go and look at what is happening to the Yoruba people. You are going to understand more what the people of the Middle Belt have been facing. They are displacing people, taking over. The use of terror. You know, the use of terror is also a means of warfare. The use of terror is a means of warfare. In order to destroy the ethnic diversity of Nigeria. The destruction of the ethnic diversity. That's why there's nothing called one North. As a Yoruba man, there's absolutely anything called one North. Because by saying, when you agree to them to say Northern Nigeria, you are giving up 10 million of your 10 million and more than 20,000 square kilometers of ancestral Yoruba land that were based on your empire. You are giving it up to the core North. That place was not conquered. That is not unconquered territory. Those are just problem of political state creation within Nigeria. I told you there are two types of Nigerians. There are empire building Nigerians and nation building Nigerians. Those that believe that they want to destroy this country by imposing Sharia over the rest of Nigeria, those are empire builders. They tried the same nonsense in Sudan. They found out they destroyed that country. Sudan has been totally wrecked for the next 100 years. No solution in sight. How many of you, when we talk about 1,000 years ago, 300 years ago, you think it's far? It is not far. 5,000 years ago is just 200 generations away. Ago. Your father, your great-grandfather, just 5,000 years ago was just 200 generations ago. 5,000 years ago, just 200 generations. So now imagine, so that means when we talk about Oduduwa is just maybe 14 generation away ago. Oromia was just 10 generation, was just great-grandfather away. So that you understand why legacies, what we do now, affects what we get in the future. May Olodumare continue to be with the rest of us, the rest of the entire Yoruba race, Olodumare continue to be with people that are working day and night for the survival of the Yoruba people. We also want to pray for the people that have been displaced due to the violence, this terrorism that is happening across the Sahel, across Nigeria, that are displacing people across the world. We hope that peace will come back to our land. We pray that peace is going to come into our territories. I'm going to stop here. Maybe later, I'm going to go into more topics where more examples of the use of genocide as a tool of nation building. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think what we need to do is very, very straightforward. We don't have to mince words. What we need to do is to negotiate, add political pressure, and actually talk to our political elites. The issue is that there is a disconnect, a slight disconnection. It's getting better. Our political elites are currently listening, and to us, that they need to protect the interest of the Yoruba people within the Nigerian Federation. I'm going to give a good instance. During the issue of VAT, earlier this year, the issue of the VAT, the Arewa leaders came out and said, this VAT do not favor us. It is anti-North. They don't even care. They don't even care about justice, equity, that the Northwest and the Northeast majorly has been looting the rest of the resources of Nigeria for their own survival. They didn't even care about that. They also this anti-North. We don't care. Maybe you guys are crying. You are generating $2 billion every year, $2 billion every year, and you are only keeping $100 million. We'll continue to leech on you. They came out to say that unashamedly. So the Yoruba P leaders need to start operating at that level. We are not saying that, this policy is not good. The Yoruba leaders need to say, this policy is not good. It might be good for the North, but it is not good for the Yoruba people. And because it is not good for the Yoruba people are not going to sacrifice our soul for your survival in the name of national unity. That is how we should always think. But for the past many decades, especially during the military rule, we've had self-centered social climbers who believe sacrificing our people for their own, in order for them to become billionaires, and hiding under the banner of patriotism. It's a form of it's a form of playing the game of one Nigeria. So going forward, the different interest organizations, interest groups, political organizations, nationalist organizations must be able to actually conceptualize what exactly do we want in Nigeria. I remember when we were talking about state creations and some of us are talking about creation, and some people that actually have no simple idea about the history of Nigeria, where we are coming from, where we are going. They don't even understand the history of West Africa, screaming and shouting, oh, we don't want it, oh, we don't want states, oh, we don't want regional system of government. I was like, what exactly is going on? The Yoruba people are not mobs. If we really want to go back to the time of Awolowo, we must go back to it in full terms, where the intellectuals are the ones speaking for us, not mobsters, not opportunists, not people who believe we are here to do fashion parade. No. So, what do we want? We want ethno-linguistic federalism. We don't care. Give us one more state, or give for the Yoruba people in that north, and bring our people back home. We will negotiate any kind of negotiation you want. Now, what's our negotiating power? We are stakeholders in this country. We are a majority. We are powerful. It is doable. The Yoruba people in Delta State, Yoruba people of Edo State, Yoruba people of Kwara State, just realign the borders. We are not seceding. We just believe that within the Nigerian equation, their interest is well protected. They are well protected and aligned within the entire Yoruba Commonwealth. We are not anti-North. We are not anti-East. We are not anti-South-South. Because this is not empire. We are all brothers and sisters within Nigeria. But people that have empire mindsets are the ones that are making Nigeria almost impossible. They believe people that have empire mindsets, they are the ones that are quick to shout patriotism the most, because they are big-time manipulators. They are propagandists. Everything to them is politics. And I'm trying to make people understand the psychology of the kind of people we are dealing with. They will always prop up sentiments in order to avoid social responsibilities. And what is the social responsibilities? The social responsibilities that you don't have to oppress other ethnicities for you to feel good. So if the Shekiris are saying no, we are Yorubas, we need to we need to go back to the West. What is the business of Ijos or Yorubos to be saying, oh, one Delta, one Delta? There was something called Delta States 40 years ago, for God's sake. What we heard was Bendel States. If we see the Yoruba people of Use, Ologbo, Akoko Edo, the Yoruba settlements there, and say, okay, we are going back to the West. Just do border the adjustments. You cannot be from Benin and be shouting, no, 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 they must be there. They must be there. There was nothing called Edo States 40 years ago. It was one you only had was Bendel States. When people the what led to the first to the collapse of the First Republic was the overbearing genocidal and hegemonic attitude of the Igbos and the Fulanis. The Fulanis were busy pressing down the ethnic minorities in the core north, that they are never going to have political freedom. The Igbos were doing the same thing, pressing down the people of Southern Cameroon, pressing down the people of the South, current day former minorities in the Eastern region. And what happened? And that's why I've said it before. If 1966 happens again, 1967 happens again, the Yoruba people are never going to play the same role we played in 1967. Never. Because we are always the reasonable people being on top of our voices. We saw what General the current president, the current Minister of Defense, General Musa, said. The Southwest is the most secure place in Nigeria currently. The most progressive. Why? Because they have reasonable and proactive leaders. So if we are trying to create sanity in an insane society, that we find ourselves in a chaotic society like Nigeria. So you're not going to create wars, destabilize Nigeria, and you expect our boys and men to go and be sacrificing their lives like they did in 1967. No. Which is why we are calling now for the ethno-linguistic restructuring of Nigeria. And our leaders must hear, they have to understand. If the millions of the Yoruba people, indigenous Yoruba people in Kogi are displaced, the millions of Yoruba people in Kwara, I'm talking about millions, over close to 10 million, are displaced. Where are they coming to? They are coming into Oyo State, they are coming into Ondo State, they are coming into Edo State, into Ondo, Oyo, and Osun. Or are we going to, if God forbid, they start displacing close to 1.5 million in Shekiris in Delta States, in Warri? So if they come to Ondo State, we are going to chase them out? No, they are our brothers. So in order to stop this, chaos, because we are not safe. The mistake many of us are making, many of our political leaders are making, and many of us too, especially the Yoruba middle class, is to think the problem in the Sahel will stay in the Sahel. The problem in the Sahel is not going to stay in the Sahel. The soup they are cooking in the Sahel, the soup that is being cooked in the Northwest, the terrorism that is being cooked in the Northeast is going to get to everybody. We're already feeling it. Everybody will eat the breakfast. So the displacement of the Yoruba people of Kwara State, the next thing that will be on their mindset is Ogbomoso. Where are they running to? Ogbomoso, Ibadan, Lagos. You can't stop them. They are the same people. We are the same people with them. If anything happens to the Yorubas of Benin Republic, where do you think they are going to come to as refugees? They are coming to us. Or you think you are going to chase them away? You are deceiving yourself. When the issue of Northeast started, many of the Kanuris, when they were displaced from their land, where did they go to? They went to Cameroon. They went to Chad, because that is where their brothers are. So to avoid a big demographic cataclysm, we must stabilize Kwara and Yorubas of Kwara and Kogi and Edo and Delta. How do we stabilize it? By making sure they have the right political framework where they can be able to recreate what we have in the Southwest in their place under any kind of arrangements. We are not even saying that the Yorubas of Kogi must join the Southwest at all costs. No. They can create an homogeneous Yoruba state of Kwara and Kogi for Yorubas alone in that place, and they are still going to be in the Northwest, in the Middle Belt. But we know that they have a form of sanity in that place. So I think I've been able to answer your question.
There's another thing I quickly want to bring up. There was some message going around. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I think TYF did repost it or posted it earlier today regarding the situation whereby we're being alert that there are bandits who are planning to invade educational institution as well as homes to take people, because they are trying to use people as shield for when they are being bombarded in the forest. So I know I've been saying a lot here about us being vigilant and us also having community vigilantes and everything. But what can be done now? I know our leaders already are working towards the security architecture. What can be done with all this information out there? Because this is the period where people are out a lot. People are out there, it's the festive period. So what can be done?
In Ifelodo in Kwara, we need state police. It is not the fault of our people to try to enjoy Christmas or try to travel to go and see their loved ones. It is the fault of the people we paid taxes to and gave our vote to protect our lives. So, and Chief Obafemi Awolowo has spoken for over 70 years till he died. He said this centralized policing system is going to create bloodshed. It's not going to protect the lives of Nigerians. But politicians refuse to listen. So the blood of everybody, whether Yoruba, Hausa, Ijaw, Yoruba, that have been killed by these terrorists, is in the neck of our political elites. Because when I mean political elites across all ethnicities, the Yoruba political leaders have tried. They created a Motekun, but we need to do more. So that's why it will be. We are going to be making the biggest mistake the core North made under Buhari was to keep quiet and believe that by keeping quiet, he was going to get away with a lot of Fulani expansionist policies he was trying to do while masking it under one Nigeria. But it failed. Like the Ruga and Katu colony is the bitter truth. It failed. And they are regretting. People like Malami and many of their oligarchs were amassing wealth at the expense of the common. They had 8 years wasted. They were busy thinking, they were building empires, building railways into Niger Republic, trying to pipe gas from the south to go to Morocco. They want to become the Qatar. Those kind of fantasy, cheap money. That is, I'm sorry to say this. The Arab mindset, the Gulf mindset, where money was made not through manufacturing, not through taxation, not through major productivity, but just exporting of gas, is what many of the Northwest, Northeast political elites also want. It's what they wanted. It's what they want. And we all know how it ended. That's why you see them all the time, oil and gas, oil and gas, oil and gas. But things like creating industries, communities, generating tax, VAT, foreign direct investment, they're not interested in that. That is why you see them that they are busy empowering religious extremists that are teaching that they should burn down industries, burn down, destroy breweries, all sort of nonsense. Because there's free money coming in. And the money coming in is not enough to be able to cater for their lifestyle anymore. So we just need, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. When we have state police, we have state police, then we can be talking about how the 6 Southwest states to protect the Yoruba people in Kwara, in Kogi, in Edo, in Delta. That's the only thing we can do. Thank you very much.
All right, Darren, we have a question from Facebook. I'm going to show it on the screen now so you can see. There is the question from Facebook. So the question is, what is your take if we agitate for Igomina State from Kwara State? And can Nigerian government redirect Yoruba speaking people to the Southwest?
Yeah, anything is possible. I totally agree with Igomina State. Anything my fellow Yorubas are supporting, I am not going to say I'm not supporting it. No. I support Igomina State. I support the Shekiri Wari State agitation. I support Okun State agitation. So we've presented many of our points to our political leaders, privately and publicly, as regards to what we want. And part of the things on the agenda is bringing back the Igomina people back to the West. Because we have some Igomina in Osun State. We have another Igomina in the South, in Kwara. For instance, Baba Bisi Akonde, the former governor of Osun State, under the Alliance for Democracy, 1999 to 2003, was an Igomina man. So there is University of Medicine in Igomina, in Kwara, in Igomina part of Osun State, while there is no single major federal presence in the Igomina part of Kwara, which was the biggest. So it is not. So I also support that the Igomina people should not be broken into pieces. But this is what Nigeria does. That's why I say it is genocide. It is genocide. It is some people are using empire building strategies, and every time they are called out, they are quick to say they are doing it because of patriotism. But that's not true. Thank you. And, having conversations like this is extremely critical. This is what we call politics. This is how politics is done. This is how you engage. This is how we organize. And this is what we need to do. So we need to educate a critical mass of our people. We need to organize a lot of our people. Now, you can't compare the level of ignorance amongst the Ishekiris about their Yoruba heritage, about the Hussein, about the Yoruba heritage, about the Kogi people, about their Yoruba heritage, about the Akoko Edos, about their Yoruba heritage, about the Yoruba people of Ilorin, about their Yoruba heritage. 3-4 years ago compared to now. No. So it has become higher. They become bolder. They understand. Now we are getting, the conversation is being had. The conversation is being had in different places across different quarters, both in private and public spaces, in national TVs. And now we are talking about amendments. State police is happening by inshallah, by the special grace of God. So those are the kind of things that we need to have. And we need to be organized. Because there's a difference between having issues, or we have issues as regards to what we need, and we are using the wrong techniques to get it done. So we are having the conversations. And this is extremely critical. Because no matter how much you try, you cannot lead people, you cannot liberate a people that do not know they are in bondage. People are saying that the attack that they are being censored from being Yoruba again. When was the last time you heard Yoruba hate, insulting Yoruba women, cursing Yoruba people on social media? That doesn't happen anymore. So we are equal.
There is another point I'm going to highlight now on the screen, and I want you to engage and respond to this, please. So this is from YouTube, and it says that our problem is mainly enlightening the Nigerian educated class about the importance of major ethnic nationalities.
It's very, very correct. And I'm going to say something funny today. Now you see what we're doing in TYF. We are not coming to Yoruba nationalism with Agbada and so you see us the way we're dressed. You know, you see me in suits, you see us dressed, you know, we are speaking English, the language of commerce, the language of geopolitics in the world. You see us the way we are engaging, you know, you're trying to, because this is the way you have to appeal to the middle class. We cannot, the middle class is the key. And I can tell you, there is a gradual social engineering that is happening within the Yoruba middle class. The erosion of the Yoruba consciousness, of the importance of ethno-linguistic federalism, not just amongst the Yoruba people, amongst different ethnicities, did not start 2023 or 2025 or 2015. It was a social engineering destructive process of 30, 40 years. So our plan was that where we are currently at, we even believe it's going to take us 10 years to reach. We didn't believe it's going to be this fast. So we thank Almighty God for achieving this. So we can do more. And we are surely going to do more. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful, that's exactly the, so that's why you see me in suits. You see different, you see the moderators looking kinky. That's how you have to appeal to the middle. That's how the middle class, that is the voice of the middle class. Okay, for instance, when the Japanese wanted to move from a nation building ethnicity to an empire building ethnicity, they start putting on kimono. They started putting on suits, but they still put on suits. You still know that these people are Japanese to the core in heritage and culture. It was after China finally came up. If you can't look at Chairman Mao, you look at Xi Jinping. China also stood out on that. Okay, this is the way the world works. They also, you start seeing from the 1990s, Chinese officials started putting on suits. It has to be balanced. So, because you need to capture your middle class, the middle class must be able to sync with you. Because middle class loan the ruling class. Many of you today listening to my lectures are going to be the ruling class in the next 10, 20 years. But if I do me, okay.
We have another question, Orire. So this is from YouTube, from Your Might. Said Professor Yemi Oshibajo championed the Ruga and cattle colony plan to carve land for the Fulanis in the last dispensation. Was he doing it out of ignorance or as a captured Fulanist? Okay, that's a very bad.
Thank you very much. He was doing it out of ignorance.
That's very
like I said,
language.
There is a disconnect. There is a disconnect between the Yoruba elites. There was a disconnect between the Yoruba elites and the Yoruba people. Total disconnect. And the mistake we made was that we assumed that our political elite knew what we wanted and they would go and do it. We've forgotten that many of them live in a bubble. Many of them, when they want to travel from Lagos to Abuja, many of them have never traveled through bus in Nigeria for the past 20, 30 years. They take private jets. Even if they want to travel from Lagos to their village in Ikene, they use helicopter. They land there. Where they live is 24-hour electricity. They are off-grid. They want to go back to Lagos and they want to travel to Europe. They take their helicopter. Helicopter takes them directly to private terminals at the MMA, Lagos International Airport. That is where they stay. They land and go anywhere they have ones in the world. They have diplomatic passports. They have Caribbean passports. Many of them have green cards. They have multiple permanent residence cards. They have Schengen. They have American one. They have Caribbean one. And many of them have diplomatic passports. Because there are some powerful political elites. When you reach that level, they can travel. They can travel anywhere. So it's ignorance. It's ignorance, and it is not their fault. It happens in any when the society becomes too elitist. So it is now our duty to remind the political class that voxi populi voxi Dei, the voice of the people, the voice of God. The Yoruba people have not been feudalized for the past 500 years, and we will never be feudalized in Nigeria. Because this is what Awolowo died for, went to prison for. My people will not be feudalized. That was why the political elites, the aristocrats coming from Lagos colony, and many of them in the hinterlands, the children of the Obas, hated Awolowo. And they were even saying he was just a son of a firewood seller. Who is he? That was why when Awolowo made education very, very compulsory, they hated him for it. So we know where we are coming from, we know where we are going, which is why it is extremely critical for us to engage our political elite in a civilized and organized manner and tell them, we are not here, we are not fighting against you. The reason why people, if Awolowo reincarnates today, people will follow him massively to death. So why can't you become another Awolowo? Why do you think you have to buy kuli and gari before people can vote for you? Why can't you study what Awolowo did and also become another Awolowo? Just give us the basic minimum. Defend your people. Speak for your people. What do your people want? Your people cannot be fighting against Ruga or organizing where tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are attending rallies against Katu Colony and Ruga. And you are going to be in Aso Rock and you are going to be supporting it. That means something is wrong. Shetima did not do that. He supported the northern governors to say they don't want restructuring, they don't want VAT, they want VAT to remain the same. Those are people that are doing the bidding of their people. So Awolama loyalty, our rulers, our political elite to listen to us. Because it is a game of democracy. They must listen. Voxi populi, voxi Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Imagine Kiwan state governor, why that in Yoruba say, who of a state police, tabani leni pure water. It's the bitter truth. It's the bitter truth. Because because we are not going to sacrifice our own survival. Tori pe Yoruba survive lo represents you. Do you want to rule over dead people? You want to rule over a dead people? There are a lot of things that I was highly disappointed to with, because he was out of touch with the people. He was an elitist. to the core. I'm saying it on here. He was an elitist. We thought he was an Awoist. With our support trust madness, what they feel our because it's the bitter truth.
Please be mindful of your words. Everyone sending questions.
What they feel our so we have to understand.
We have a new. Yeah, everyone sending in question, please be careful with your wording. We need to ask question in a very polite and straightforward manner. I have another comment I want to highlight from Babai Dauto. So this is one for you, Are. Their major agenda is for South to suffer as well as to babysit the North.
Intervention in 1914. Kọlọmbà ní ogun tá ti wọ̀ yìí ṣàgbé àwọn bàbá ọmọ sọ̀rọ̀ kan ọmọ ń gbàdúrà kan ní mọ́tò kan láwọn nìbàdàn Ọlọ́run já bó lórí burúkú ọmọ tó papọ̀ ẹ kàn ní má sọ̀rọ̀ ní ẹ jẹ́ kí n sọ sódà ọ̀rọ̀ yá yáwọn èèyàn wa ṣe mọ̀ ó dàbẹ́ níbi pé kẹ́ wọnú mọ́tò ṣe Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká bá wèrè wọ mọ́tò papọ̀ kí mọ́tò ti máa lọ kí wèrè yẹn dẹ̀ yóò àdá ṣẹ́gbẹ̀ àwọn tó fẹ́ ẹlòmíà fẹ́ pálẹ̀ lójórí speed. That's exactly what we currently have. And we have to, that's why things are not just, if, I'm sorry, Oyibo only allow the carnage going on in Nigeria to continue. Let's say there's a region, you have white people, Caucasians, they will never allow it. They will never allow it. They would have found a way to solve the Nigerian problem.
Ọjọ́ bá pẹ́ títí ọjọ́ àpín o, bọ́nà bá jìnnà jìnnà àdópin o. A ti sáré àdópin aré, a máa ti jìyà àdópin ìyà o. A ti sún a ti kan ògiri, ó má di gbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Ilé òní gbóná kárẹ́nu omi kọ́lé, ayé òní kóró kálọ̀ dífá ọ̀run o. Láyé náà la ó wà, títà ó fi ṣẹ́gun lójú àwọn ọlọ́tẹ̀. Ẹkún akọjá òkùnkùn ajímọ́lẹ̀ fáwa ọmọ Yorùbá, ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Ó di láéláé pọ́n gbá, ó mà di láéláé pọ́n gbá. Yorùbá ò ní dọ̀bálẹ̀ ẹ̀fẹ́ nìkan, ó di gbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o.
Yé ẹ dìde bí ológun, ẹ bá jàgà sílẹ̀ o, ẹ rántí àtọmọdọ́mọ. Kò ní sún wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá, bá ó fi ṣẹ́gun. Tẹni tó dé ó sàn ju ẹni tirẹ̀ ń bọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ò ní ní dúró. Kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n, kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n, kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n, gbọ̀n, gbọ̀n. Àtùpàgbé oníkànnì o, bí ẹ bá sùn ẹgbẹ́, ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Bí a bá kú tí a bá jí, a ó mẹ́ni rè fẹ́ràn ẹni. Ẹni bá ṣàìsàn wò ni yóò lè mọyì àlàáfíà. Bí a bá ṣaláìní ká tó wá ní, a ó mọyì bàbá ń fojoojúmọ́ jẹun ata. Ó dífá fún Yorùbá tí í ṣe ọmọ Odùduwà bàbá mi òkè gàgàgà tí í ṣe lépè lẹ́yìn aṣòótọ́.
Odùduwà ó pè yín.
Ọ̀yọ́, Ìbàdàn, Oǹdó, Ìjẹ̀ṣà, Ilé Ifẹ̀ o.
Wá ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Àkúrẹ́, Ọ̀wọ̀, Ìkàrẹ́, Ẹ̀yìn Èkìtì ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
Wá ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ìbàràpá, Ilé Ẹ̀gbádò, Ẹ̀yìn Ọ̀ṣun ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
Wá ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ẹ̀yin Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ Àlárẹ̀ o, ẹ̀yin Ẹ̀gbá ọmọ Lísàbí.
Wá ohùn alóore,